Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. And on last video, we actually finished installing our graphic drivers, Lutris, Steam, and also getting Wine working. And in this video, we're actually going to be installing games in our Steam platform. So we're really going to be focusing on Steam for this time. Next time, we'll be looking into Lutris. So let's begin. Now, if you guys follow my tutorial from my last video, you know that we have to actually turn on Steam Play for Windows games to actually show up on our Linux platform. So just make sure that this is enabled. Once that is done, you're going to see a list of your entire library, and none of which would tell you what is Linux or what is not. You can actually filter out everything if you wanted to, but we're mostly focusing on whatever games we're going to try to get. Now, the first thing I usually do before I even purchase a game is actually check out this website called ProtonDB. Now, ProtonDB will allow me to see if the game is going to work on Linux. So search whatever game you have and see how the rating is. So one of the first games we're going to be looking into is pretty much Linux native game, which is Nier Automata. So if I was to check out Nier, you would see it's platinum because it's going to work right off the Linux platform. A bunch of these games I have on here are just downloaded. I didn't fully install it. I just downloaded for the sake of jump cutting this so I don't have to like wait. Yeah, so let's check out Nier Automata. If I was to hit play on this machine, it should just work and have no problem opening up everything. Now, if you're a first launch, usually on the first launch, it'll install little applications like, I don't know, DirectX or something like that. So just let that go. But on Nier Automata's case, since it's native to the game, it's gonna just work. And there we have it. The game's booted, it's working just fine. I didn't have to do any tweaking whatsoever. And I'm just gonna see if I could try to get out of this menu so I could show you the next game, which takes a little bit more tinkering, and I'll show you where I get this information from. So yeah, let me get out of this. As a matter of fact, I actually want to start playing that game again. I actually never beat it. I owned this game for 2 years and I only played 16 hours total on it. And that's not enough for time for, you know, ever completing the game. So I do want to complete that game. All right, next up we have is Elite Dangerous. Elite Dangerous takes a little bit of tweaking, and according to ProtonDB, if I go to Elite Dangerous, you're gonna see it's gold. So that means it's gonna work for this machine, but it requires a little bit of work. And there is an actual wiki, and if you go over to the wiki, it'll tell you what you need to do to get this game working. So before I jump into it, the first thing you do need to do is actually run the game. So it will install its own stuff on there, namely DirectX or VC Run or whatever it is. Just make note of this. You see how it says Microsoft VC redis package? Make a note of that because that's what we're going to be installing, and it actually tells you in this screen. Now, it's not going to actually complete the install through this screen. So we're going to have to manually install it through Wine. All right, now that that's finished running its course, you're going to notice it went from stop to play. Yeah, it's not going to boot up. So what we're going to need to do is actually go into Terminal and open up our prefix. Now there's a software called Proton Tricks, which is similar to Wine Tricks, but it gears only towards doing this as like a shortcut. But I never had good results from that because the Proton Tricks I don't think is as updated as Wine Tricks, so some of the stuff might not install. You could try it. So instead of having to do this whole thing that I'm doing here, you could just type in Proton Tricks with the app, and it's a little bit easier. Anyway, so the first thing, because I have multiple games installed, that means I have multiple ID numbers. So I would need to figure out what ID number I need for this game. So I would go over to Steam, I would Google Steam powered Elite Dangerous. And when I click on this, it'll actually give me this little number called 35 right up here. That number will actually be my app number. So if I was to do wine prefix equals /home/done/.steam/steam apps compact data, the number I'm looking for is 359320. And there's a thing in here called PFX. And that's what we need. So after we type in the wine prefix in here, and this is what Proton Tricks does it for you normally, but we're going to do it manually. We would do wine config just to make sure we have the right folder. And to know that this is the right thing is as soon as you hit, oh, I'm not going to install mono. As soon as you hit wine, I will install gecko. But as soon as you hit wine config, you're going to notice other settings in here that I did not put in. That means that it was pre-configured through Steam and it's already done, and I know I'm in the right position. Now that I'm done with that, I just closed it out. I go into wine tricks and I will type in .NET 40, and that's what's suggested to me from ProtonDB. And like over here, you see that .NET.0, and I know I ran VC run, so I'm going to do VC run 2017. And this also suggests using Windows 7 settings. So I'm going to hit all three of those, and it's going to download all the stuff and install it into that particular game. This is going to take a minute, so I'm just going to let this go. All right, that is it. Now, if I go back into Steam and I hit play, it should have no problem starting this time because I installed all the prerequisites that it's needed to run the actual game launcher. And there we have it. The game launcher is started. I'm just going to hit the play button and start the game just to see if everything is working. And that is it. A lot of times, most games just require those little things like the .NET and the VC run, and you should be able to get most of the games working. Some require extra settings where you have to modify certain files and settings just to get the game to work, which I'm going to show you in one sec. And it's not too hard, but there are times where the game will absolutely just not run, and ProtonDB is a good resource or a good place to check what will work and what won't work before I even decide to buy the game. And that's, I mean, if you're going to be a hardcore gamer, then obviously Windows or dual booting is your best chance or best choice. But if you're just a casual gamer that wants to get some games to work on Linux, here are the methods. And that is it. Elite Dangerous works perfectly fine. I could get into a game, but I'm just going to jump into the next part of getting a game that's more complicated to get started. So I'm just going to exit this now. Okay, now I'm going to close this. Now, one of the more difficult games that I've been playing, which is Space Engineers. And if you do want to see gameplay of that, I do have another channel where I upload all my Space Engineer games too. So if I head over to Space Engineers, it's gold. It does run, it does play, but it's not simple. You got to see, there's a lot of like things that you got to do. There's a lot of steps just reading through this. Somebody did make a script to make this a lot easier. I used to do this manually before the script, and I found the script to be a lot easier, but he does lay out every single step. All right, so here, instead of having to follow each step one by one, which you can through this, I would actually just download the Git. So first, we have to go here and start up our Space Engineer, so it would actually install all the setting files and everything that it needs to on the first run. So I'm going to let that happen. It's going to take a few minutes for this to go through. And again, if you realize what's going on over here, it's going to say like VC run. You see that? Might even try to install DirectX. Oh, there you go, DirectX. Now, generally how I used to get this game to work is the same method that I got Elite Dangerous to work. I would install .NET, then VC run, and it would run, but it would have sound glitches and, you know, some weird stuff here and there. And this script that he has put together actually resolves a lot of that problem, like freezing at startup, error popping up, looping sound, sound cracking, like all that other stuff. So just installing what I was doing before with Elite Dangerous works, but again, it still has these little issues with F audio and here and there. So running this patch just makes it a lot easier. Again, you could do it manually, and a lot of these things on ProtonDB will have like a wiki behind it where you could just follow in if you want to do manually and you don't trust the code. So I would just navigate over to downloads and do git clone and paste that file over there. Okay, I do need to install Git. Now if you guys are sudo app install git. Now, if you guys do like the desktop that I'm using, I'm actually using Elementary OS, and I do have an install, full start to finish install of this desktop layout that I have over here on my main channel, which I'll leave down in the descriptions below. All right, so now that we got git installed, I'm just gonna clone the Space Engineer script, head over to Space Engineer script, and I'm gonna run Python 3 auto prefix patcher. Hit yes because I don't want that freezing. And would you like to continue? Yes. So now it's, like I said, it's gonna run everything I need, and it's just a waiting game because this script's gonna do everything. And to get all these settings in does take some time, so I'm just gonna let this thing run its course. And I think about 10 minutes or so. Well, apparently this script bugged out, and because I'm using Wine 5.6 and not 5.5, it's giving me a little bit of an issue. I'm just reading, like you see how it says, return with status aborting. So what I'm actually gonna end up doing is manually installing the .NET and VC Run, and I know the other patches that he created are completed, so I'm just gonna move forward and do that instead. Now, if this script gets fixed, you're not gonna have to run into this issue, but again, remember to read these files and see if it went by, because this completed within a minute, so I knew something was wrong. So let me do wine prefix equals home don.steam steam apps compact data, and this was 244 because I see it right up on top right here, 244 something pfx wine tricks.net, and I know this one requires 472. Actually, it's 462, but I'm just getting it the later version, 472, and VC Run 2017. Oh, this Wine Tricks does not have. So let me grab the later version of Wine Tricks, which I would have shown on the previous video because I don't think I have it on this one, and that's probably my fault. So let's grab this. Run the previous script again. And there we go. Yeah, I had the older version. The patch should have worked now because my Wine Tricks was actually on an older version, so literally that is my fault. Alright, so just for safekeeping, I actually reran the script again just to make sure all the patches and everything went through with the new Wine Tricks. So yeah, most of the time I like to show the problems that I run into. This way, when you guys are troubleshooting, you might run into a similar situation and you could see how somebody troubleshoots it. And yeah, I just left it in there. So let's get started with Space Engineers. I'm going to hit the play button now and see if everything is going to run compared to what it was before. And let's see. Okay, the logo didn't go away now, so it seems like it's working. Well, I know because I've done this before, so I'm acting like I didn't. It does work. And here we have it, Space Engineers. The intro won't load because we disabled that. And that is it. If I want to start a new game, I can go over to custom and load whatever I want, say like a star system. Everything loads just as it should. So yeah, getting games to work isn't too difficult as long as there's a process to it. Sometimes games just don't work, and those are the ones that are very annoying. But ultimately, yeah, that's how I would get Steam games to work. Check ProtonDB. If there's a script, I would run that script. And let me exit this because it's gonna be so loud, but I do know it works. Yeah, I mean, that's basically it. If you guys have any questions as far as how to get certain games, I don't have all the answers to those. You're gonna have to look up ProtonDB or do your own Googling, but those are the steps that I would normally take to get the game started. Now, another question for you guys is, I plan to start streaming, not streaming, sorry. I plan to start recording like full gameplays of like say Nier Automata or Detroit or something like that. I do want to upload that stuff and upload it to this channel. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. On our next video, we're actually going to get games on Lutris working, so I'm going to show you tutorials on how to get that working, and then probably after that I will show you guys how to natively install games without having to rely on Steam or on Lutris. And yeah, going forward I'm just going to do a lot of tutorials on getting games to work on Linux. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. Please hit that like button if you did. If you guys are new to this channel, consider subscribing. Also hitting that bell notification icon so you know when the next video is going to be out. Be sure to also check out my main channel where I do a lot of also Linux tutorials and guides to build certain things with Raspberry Pi. So yeah, see you guys next time. And if any point in this video that I'm actually going too fast, keep in mind that this is a video, so you can always go back and pause it. So yeah,